Hey guys, today's day 2 of our 6-day training series. Today I've got some shoulders, we're quickly going to go and get changed, smash some pre-workout, and I'll see you guys on the gym floor. Before I start every single shoulder workout, I always make sure that I warm my shoulders up, just making sure that my front delts, my side delts, and my rear delts are nice and warm, ready to go for the big workout, right before I go into those bigger, heavier movements, making sure my tendons and ligaments and everything is nice and warm. It's super simple. All I do is I grab some nice light weights. For me it's 5 kilos, might be 4, might be 3, might be 2 for you. Just something you can rep out without getting too much pain or too strenuous. And all we're going to do is we're going to start with some side raises. I might do say 10 or 15 reps. I just want you guys to just lift by just what feels good. We're not trying to work too hard. We're just trying to get some movement happening through my shoulder. Whenever I'm doing shoulder side raises or any really exercise, always make sure my chest is up and my glutes are out. So that way my spine is stable, in that nice stabilized position. I'm not swinging my body around too much, just nice up and down, just working my shoulders. I do a few front raises as well. I might do 1 at a time, I might do 2 at once. Whatever feels good for you guys, just making sure that you're getting full range of motion through your front delts, stretching all the way back to get a nice deep stretch for your anterior delt, and then making sure in your mind you're using that front delt to push the weight from here to the top of the motion. Always make sure you're using constant tension up and constant tension down. We're not trying to do anything too crazy. My sides are pretty warm now, my fronts are pretty good, and the last one I just want my rears as well. Chest up, glutes out, bend the hip slightly, and all I'm doing is nice and light, just bringing my shoulders out, squeezing my rears at the top of the movement. So to start off today's workout, we're going to be working some rear delts. The reason we work rear delts first, not front delts, is because 21st century, everyone comes to the gym and everyone smashes their front delts first. And what's happening is people's shoulders are starting to round forward, they're starting to get really tight through here, and it's not giving them that nice round shape that we're trying to look for when we're trying to develop a body. To me, posture is really, really important. So I come in, I think it's really important for me and all you guys, we work our rear delts first so we can keep that nice round shape, and then we go and hit our front delts after that. The first exercise, when we're working the pectoral or rear delt fly, you'll be able to find this in most gyms. It's as simple as all we're going to do, we're going to start off with a weight which is good for our body. All we do is jump on the machine. Now the first thing you're going to do, you're going to put the seat at the right height so that your chin is just above this pad. Chest up, glutes out, and in a nice slow motion, ensuring that we're grabbing the contraction of the muscle. We move backwards. We squeeze my rear delts. I hold the squeeze, and then in my mind I'm using my rear delt to lever the weight forward. I get to a full stretch, and then I do it again. Making sure that on the contraction part of the movement, I'm exploding a little bit harder, squeezing the weight at the end of the movement, incorporating as much blood as I can to that area I'm trying to work, and then using that rear delt to lever the weight forward in the eccentric. With this exercise, we're aiming for around about 5 sets with about 15 and 20 reps. But I don't want you guys to limit yourself to a number. If you do 15 reps and you can feel like you can do a couple more, push out a couple more. If you can do 20 reps, if you can do a couple more, then do a couple more, but increase the weight. If you're doing 20 reps easily, then the weight needs to go up. A lot of people will grab the exercise and will drive it back, and they'll just drop the machine back like this. Really make sure you use that eccentric, because that eccentric, from the contraction to the starting position, is what's going to make you grow your shoulder the most. So this is the last set now of this exercise. This is the fifth set. I'm feeling pretty good. So what I'm going to do for this last set is I'm going to do a 5-set drop set. I'm just going to chuck on a nice heavy amount of weight. I want to try and get to 10 or 15 reps, whatever I feel is comfortable without doing an injury. And then I'm going to drop the weight again, another 10 or 15 reps. Again, I'm going to do that for 5 sets until the set's over. Just going to exhaust my rear delts as much as I can. Then we'll go, after this, we'll head off and we'll do some cables. I'm going to be working the rear part of my delts again, but more of the side part of the rear delt. I'll explain that next. So as you can see, that last set I did, it wasn't as perfect form as the first few sets, but I just used constant tension up, constant tension down. I kept the weight in the rear of my shoulder belly, and I just moved as much weight as I possibly could. I always push within my limits. You want to make sure you don't do an injury, but sometimes it's better to get those last few reps and to stop and go on to the next exercise. So the second exercise we're going to be doing today is some cables. In this exercise, we're going to be working the side part of my rear delt. Basically what I do in my head is I like to kind of cut my shot up into 4 parts. I kind of make the rear part back here part 1. If I cut my shoulder right in the middle here, make this be my part 2. Part 3 will be the front part of my side delt, and part 4 will be this working muscle here, which is my anterior deltoid, the very front of my shoulder. Like I said at the start of the video, I always like to work my shoulders from the rear to the front so I can keep that good posture. My shoulders get that nice round shape and I get that nice round full flow on stage. The right side of the cable, I grab my left hand. Left side of the cable, I grab with my right hand. We just cross them over like this. Starting point is my hands almost fully together, my chest is up and my glutes are out. That keeps my spinal cord nice and locked, which is always a bit the safety mechanism for me, always making sure my spine is flat. From here I start at nipple height, just under my chest here, and I pull up in a diagonal line in the shape of a Y. Always making sure that throughout the entire movement, I'm initiating the contraction of my shoulder from the start of the movement. It's easy to pull away from point A to point B and not to contract. So in my mind, making sure that I'm starting the contraction with my shoulder, initiating it with my shoulder. This is the warm up, lightweight, constant tension. Shape of a Y, back down to starting point. Always make sure we're working full range of motion. As you progress through the movement, naturally what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to, your arm's going to want to pull like this, or you're going to want to pull like this. So always make sure you're pulling up in that diagonal line. Just like that, shape of a Y. Full range of motion. Also, I see a lot of people when they're doing this movement, when it starts getting harder, they start leaning back with the movement like that. We don't want to do that, because that's taking pain off my shoulder and moving that onto my back and using leverage to the movement. When it starts getting hard, just keep that focus and keep putting that pressure in the weight, that pressure of the weight in the muscle. If you can't do it, drop the weight and go a lighter weight. We're always going to be aiming for around about 15 reps. Like I said with the first initial exercise, if you can do 15 reps quite easily, do a couple extra. Don't stop at a number. 15 for me is a good working load, because if your reps are too low, you're only doing 1 to 3 reps, you're not really working muscle fibers as well as you could be. And if you're in too high reps, you're working more cardiovascular health. So always try and get in between that 15 rep range with the best form as you possibly can. This exercise, we're kind of working a very, very small muscle, so the weight's never going to be super heavy. It's more about controlling the movement through that part of my shoulder I want to work. If I just throw heaps of weight on, I can move the weight, but I may be working anterior delt, I may be working the front part of my side delt. Right now, the primary goal for me is to be working the rear part of my side delt. So when I'm on stage, or wherever I am, you get that nice round shape through the side of my shoulder here. Let's go to the first working set. So from here to here, the movement's slightly faster than on the eccentric, which is the eccentric is from here all the way down to the starting point. Contraction a little bit faster, squeeze at the top, squeeze as much blood as you can into the muscle you're trying to work, and then using the eccentric, starting from the very, very top of the motion, all the way down to the starting point. Always making sure that when we're doing this exercise that there is constant tension in our shoulder. There we go again. Also, if I want to make the load a little bit harder on my shoulders, but I don't want to necessarily increase the weight, do exactly the same movement, but instead of standing where you were sitting before, you can just bend slightly more at the hip. By bending slightly more at the hip, you're kind of working against gravity a little bit harder, and it's really isolating those shoulders even more. So for me, exactly the same weight as the last set, but because I'm bent at the hip, it feels like it's double the weight. fifth set is the last set. Sometimes what I'll do with this exercise as well, if I'm feeling good, is I'll chuck in a superset. Basically the idea of the superset is to work exactly the same part of the shoulder with a different movement. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the cables. I wanna lift these cables as many reps as I possibly can with the best form I can. And once I finish, once I'm fatigued, I'm gonna drop the weight. I'm gonna chuck in a superset. Always making sure with this exercise that you're leading with your pinkies. Always pulling in the shape of a Y. These are the force reps. Now for the superset, this is the icebreaker. This is what's going to make your shoulders grow how you want them to grow. Just give them that nice round shape. What we do is we stand in the position of a side raise. Put my chest up, always my chest up, my shoulder blades back, and my glutes out. I'm going to bend the hip slightly like this, and all we do is I keep my thumbs pointing towards the ground, or at this case into my legs like this, chest up, and mentally in my mind I'm pulling the weight from the side of the position to the contraction, the full contraction. I'm pulling the weight with the contraction of my shoulder. Chest up, all I'm doing, as you can see, when I get to this part of the motion here, this side part of the shoulder is starting to pop up a little bit. That's the part I'm trying to hit. If I wanted to work the front part of my side delt, I'd be completely straight and I'll lean backwards a little bit. That's going to work the front part of my side delt. But for this instance, I'm working the rear part of my side delt as a superset with the cables. With chest up, glutes out, bend at the hip. Always making sure your thumbs are down. A lot of the time through this movement, your thumbs are going to want to turn up like this because it's a lot easier to have your thumbs turning up. So always make sure your thumbs are down and we don't go full range of motion. This is the only exercise you don't do full range of motion. Because all we're doing is we're injecting as much blood as we possibly can into that area. As there's no load in my hands on the way down, if I go full range of motion all the way down, that's going to be a rest point. We don't want any rest points as a superset. All the way up, full tension, halfway down, all the way back up. Always remember, pinkies up, elbows up, thumbs down. I want to try and do about 25 reps of this one. And you can use this exercise with any shoulder workout. You can kind of chuck this in with this exercise, you can chuck this in with the side raise, a front delt press, or whatever you want to do. This is a great superset that you can chuck in with anything. Give it a try, it's a lot harder than you think. Okay, so for the third exercise, we're going to be doing a side raise with some dumbbells. A lot of the time I like to superset my dumbbells with it's kind of like a shrug for my shoulders. I'll show you guys how to do this movement when I'm training. Basically, all we're going to do, we're going to try and aim for about 5 sets, this one as well. I'm going to grab some dumbbells. Not too heavy because you kind of want to understand we want to do a superset with this weight as well. Right now in my mind, I'm making sure I'm pulling the weight with the side part of my shoulder. So I'm keeping my traps stabilized, I'm keeping my chest up, and I'm bending slightly at the hip. I'm not bending too much, so if I bend too much, I'm going to work the rear part of my side delt. So I'm going to keep reasonably straight without leaning backwards, and I'm going to hit the side part of my shoulder. Watching the mirror, if you see my traps are stabilized, and there's movement happening through the side part of my shoulder. Making sure that throughout the movement it's constant tension up and down, making sure my shoulders contracting and levering in one motion. So when I get to the top of the movement, what I'm trying to do is you can see, imagine how I've done with my hand. When I go from this is the starting position. When I get to the top of the movement, you can kind of see a dip in between my trap and my shoulder here. That's in my when I'm watching myself train. That's what I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see that nice part of my shoulder popping up in the air, and my trap not. I'm trying to create a crevice in here as deep as I possibly can, because I know if that's what's happening, if I can create that crevice, I know this muscle's working and this muscle's not. So I'm going to hit my side raise with as many reps as I possibly can. No swinging, and when I start feeling my body swinging, when I start feeling the muscle fatigue, all I do is, this one I am bending at the hip, I'm starting the dumbbells inside my body like this, And mentally in my mind, I'm using that exactly the same muscle I was working before, and I'm pulling with that muscle from the start of the movement to the end of the movement. There is no squeeze, it's just constant tension up, constant tension down, but we're not losing the contraction throughout the entire movement. Squeeze, up and down. You want to aim for about 15 reps, and with a superset around about 15 reps. But don't use that as like your go-to number. Whenever I'm training, always making sure that my body's getting the right nutrients it needs throughout the workout. So it's really important to fuel your body with branched chain amino acids while you're training. Branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Well, they are the 3 most abundant amino acids for muscle recovery. So all I'm going to do is I chuck in about 10 grams for myself, maybe 5 grams for someone a little bit smaller than me, of branched chain amino acids, and on top of that about 5 grams of leucine. I think it's better to have too much, not enough, because then you're going to get that maximum muscle recovery that you want, and what you don't use, you're not going to use. It's better to have too much than not enough in this instance. For me, I use 3 or 4 amino acids. There's no artificial sweeteners or flavors. I just chuck in a bit of naturally flavoring, natural flavor through there, give that bit of better taste. If you guys are interested in where you get these products from, all you hit up is bulkpowders.com.au. Go to the amino acid link, branched chain amino acid. I recommend the 2:1 ratio and leucine. Like I said before, that side delt raise with no weight. This exercise I'm going to chuck it in just because I feel like it. Chest up, glutes out, hands outside of my waist here. And just halfway up, all the way up, halfway down. Just get that constant tension in your shoulders. So today I'm feeling pretty good. The last set is going to be the 5th set of the side raises. I'm going to go a little bit heavier. I don't usually go too heavy this exercise. I like to make sure I'm isolating the muscle. But sometimes every now and then, as long as the muscles feel good, I'm making sure that I don't do an injury. I'll go a little bit heavier. I'm going to still aim to get 15 reps, but if I only get 10 reps, I only get 10 reps. It's always good to change it up. Don't always do the same thing all the time. If you feel like you can do it, do it. Let's go. When you go a bit heavier, you will use secondary muscles like traps, other muscles as well. That's okay, as long as you're using most of the work in your shoulders. When you're pushing, you're always going to use a bit of secondary muscle. I mean, everywhere needs to go anyway, so it doesn't matter if you use a little bit of something else. So for the 4th exercise today, what we're going to be doing is anterior delts, the front part of my shoulder. Everyone's favorite exercise when they're doing shoulders. Sometimes we can come in and we can do shoulder pressing with dumbbells, or sometimes we can come in and use machines. Today we're going to do machines purely because for me, my front shoulder is a little bit sore from doing a chest workout not that long ago. And I just feel like it's a lot easier to stabilize weight in my shoulder if I don't have to use too many stabilizer muscles. So if you guys feel that you're a little bit sore through your front delt, or you feel, for whatever that may be, you don't need to always do dumbbell press that everyone does with shoulders. You can use a machine as well. It's not always about how heavy you do. I mean, as long as you're squeezing the weight and you're injecting that muscle with the weight, that's all that really matters. What we're going to be doing, we're going to do a superset today. I think it's really important to do supersets with shoulders, purely because it's a pushing movement, and I feel when you're doing a pushing movement, it's a lot easier to utilize the muscle a lot easier than doing a pulling movement. When you're doing your pulling movement like back or hamstrings, secondary muscles for hamstrings with lower back and with back forearms always seems to take over. So when you're doing a pushing movement, I always try and put in as many supersets as you possibly can. We're going to start the workout off with a hammer strength press. You find this machine in most gyms have a hammer strength press similar to this. It's a very easy movement to put a lot of weight on this one because of the position of the chair, how it's situated slightly back a little bit enables you to push more weight. With the chair height, always make sure that when you're sitting on the chair, the height is adjusted so that when you put your arms on in the bar, you're not too far down, but you're not getting in a stretch to your shoulder, but you're not too high up in the chair that it's impossible to get your arms under. Always have your head back. You don't want to hyperextend your neck in this movement. Contracting the front part of my shoulders from the bottom, squeezing at the top, and then using my anterior delt or front delt to lever the weight to the bottom. Full stretch. Almost think of it like a lacquer band. Elastic band stretching all the way to the bottom, and then releasing on the way up. Slowing the way down, using my anterior delt to lever the weight. Feel that stretch evenly on both sides, and contract evenly on both sides. Squeeze, lever. Squeeze, lever. Look over here. Same with this seat here. I'm going to adjust the height so that when I'm jumping on, at the starting position of this weight, there's a bit of leverage here so I can get a full stretch in my shoulder, but I don't want to go too high so that there's too much stretch, and I don't want to go too low so there's no stretch. Feet flat on the floor. From here, contracting with my anterior delt, squeeze, then using my anterior delt to lever the weight down. You want to aim for about 15 reps on the hammer strength and about 15 reps on this one. Now, this particular machine isn't always in every single gym, but there's always some kind of a pressing machine in any gym, whether it be Anytime Fitness or any other gym. So find your hammer strength and find your pressing movement and just use it to the superset. If you don't have a hammer strength, you can use a Smith machine, which is, most gyms have them, or if you don't have this one, you can use a regular pressing machine. So with these particular exercises, I do like to go a little bit heavier. And today, for me personally, I'm not going to be going too heavy as I have a little needle in my left shoulder. But it's an anterior shoulder movement. Your anterior shoulder is always stronger than your rear part of your shoulder. These particular machines we're using today, they are stabilized by the machine. So your ability to go heavier is going to be a lot easier. So put a little bit extra weight on. Try and really push yourself as much as you can inside your limits. As long as you're getting that full range of motion, that full stretch at the bottom, initiating the contraction with your mind from the bottom of the movement, contracting the weight at the top of the movement, and squeezing your anterior part of your delta or the front part of your delta at the top of the movement, and then using that front delt to lever that weight down to the bottom, and then repeat it. Like I said before, we're aiming for about 10 to 15, 20 reps. If you're going a little bit heavier, you only get 10 reps, that's no big deal. Just aim for 15. If you're aiming for 15 and you get 20, also that's no big deal, just increase the weight. Always push with inside your limits and don't do anything too crazy. Unlike other exercises today, these particular exercises, it's really important to get that squeeze at the front part of your shoulder at the top of the movement. Like I said, lock your elbows and imagine you're trying to push your thumb backwards towards your pinky as you're locking your elbows. And by doing that, you're getting a really hard squeeze to the anterior part of your delt. The harder you squeeze, the more you grow. Simple as that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, once we finish this 6-day training series, we will draw up a detailed training program for you guys and email it to you 100% for free. All you need to do to get onto the email list is click on the link below and download my free on and off season diet. If you're already on the list, stay updated by subscribing to us on YouTube and liking us on Facebook. See you guys next week.